Welcome to the vintrace vessels page tutorial. In this video, we'll give you an overview of the vessel page's layout so that you understand what's displayed and how you can access different functions and operations in vintrace. We'll show you how you can customize the page to include the columns that you need in the order that you want to view them. We'll explain the three options that you have for filtering the page and how you can create and use saved searches. Finally, we'll show you how to sort the vessels listed and the different ways for viewing a batch's details. The vessels page displays your bins, barrels, and tanks. You can access the page by clicking the vessels icon in the sidebar. At the top of the page are filters that let you control which vessels are listed. We'll cover filters and the different ways you can search your vessels later in this video. The clipboard icon lets you record operations. There's also a link at the bottom of the window to create a work order. The plus icon lets you add new tanks or barrels. You can also create a new batch, receive fruit or wine, or create a new work order. Your vessels are listed below the filters and icons. The wine type column displays two different icons. The first one tells you what the vessel contains. This icon's color also tells you whether it's a red, rosé, white, or a blend. If you've added any custom types to your winery setup, the color that you selected when you created the type is used. If you're not sure what the icon means, you can hover over it to view its description. The second icon in the wine type column indicates the vessel type. There's a different icon for barrels, barrel groups, bins, bin groups, and tanks. Again, you can hover over the icon to view its description. Depending on how many columns you have displayed, not all of the columns may be visible at once. You can click anywhere on the grid, then press the left and right arrow keys on your keyboard to scroll the display. Another option is to use the horizontal scroll bar that's at the bottom. If the entire value doesn't fit in the display area, it will have ellipses at the end of it like this description. You can hover over it to see the entire value. You can customize the columns displayed on the vessels page by clicking the gear icon that's in the upper right corner of the grid. The columns already displayed are checked. To include a column on the page, select its checkbox. For our example, we'll also include the batch owner, then close the window. When you add a column to the grid, it's added to the right of the last column. If we click anywhere on the grid, then press the right arrow key on our keyboard, we can see that the batch owner column was added. Suppose we want the batch owner column to display next to the batch. To move a column, click its column header, then drag it to its new position. Since the batch column is to the left of the columns that are currently visible, we'll need to press the left arrow key on our keyboard to scroll the grid in that direction. Notice that when you drag the column, an arrow displays above the other headers to show where the column can be dropped. There are a number of ways that you can filter what's displayed on the page. You can use the built-in filters, apply a column filter, or create or use a custom filter. Let's walk through each one of these options. At the top of the page are built-in filters. The built-in filters let you quickly limit the list to include in-use or empty vessels. There's another built-in filter to display only tanks, barrels, or bins. If we want to show barrels that are in use, we click the In-Use filter button and the Barrels filter button. Barrel groups are displayed by default, but we can change this to show individual barrels by selecting the Show Individual Barrels checkbox. Another option for quickly filtering the vessels page is to filter on one of the columns displayed. Let's say that we only want to include vessels where the variety is Chardonnay. To do this, click the filter icon that's next to the column name, then select the values you want to include. If there are a lot of values in the list, you can type a few characters so that only values with those characters display. For example, if we type CH, the list displays the values that have CH in their name. From there, select the ones you want to include in your filter. The number displayed tells you how many values you selected for the filter. When you're ready to apply the filter, click the check mark. Notice that the color of the column header where we apply the filter displays in green. The filter icon at the top of the page also displays an exclamation mark beside it. This tells you that a filter has been applied to the page. You can hover over the icon to see what columns are being filtered. When you want to remove a column filter, click the column headers filter icon and click the X. The third option for filtering the vessels page is to create a custom filter. You can create a custom filter by clicking the filter icon at the top of the page. From this window, click Add a Filter. This displays the various attributes that are associated with your vessels. Suppose we only want to see vessels where the batch owner is vintrace. To do this, select Batch Owner from the list. From the Values list, select Vintrace Winery. After specifying the filters, click Apply. Let's say you also want to filter the list to show vessels where the ferment state is fermenting. To do this, click Add a Filter, select Ferment State, select the fermenting value, then click Apply. If the filter that you created is one that you use often, you can create a saved search. A saved search is when you create a filter and give it a name. This lets you apply the filter to the page without having to re-specify the filter columns and values. To create a saved search, click Save from the Search Filters window, then enter a name for the search. After creating a saved search, you can use it by selecting it from the list of saved searches at the top of the page. Now, let's say that we want to list the vessels that are included in order by their vintage. To do this, we click the column header that we want to sort by, then click one of the arrows. Each vessel in the list displays an icon with 3 vertical dots. Clicking on this icon displays a menu that lets you view, edit, and archive the batch, or create a work order for it. Notice that below the grid are controls for viewing the next or previous page and for changing the number of rows displayed on each page. We only have a few rows in our example, but these controls would be helpful if you had a lot of vessels in your list. To the left of the page controls is an action menu for accessing different functions. This menu is only available after you select one or more vessels on the page. You can select a vessel by selecting the checkbox beside it. To select all rows on the page, click the checkbox that's at the top. Notice that all of the selected rows display in green and that the Actions menu is now available. The Actions menu makes it easy to do a variety of tasks on the selected vessels, such as requesting lab work, charting lab results, performing operations, and creating work orders. The download icon in the lower right lets you download a list of the vessels to a CSV file that can be opened in Excel or to a PDF file. To view a batch's details, click the link in the Batch column. Notice that when reviewing the Details page, there are arrows in the upper right for scrolling to the next or previous batch in the list. To return to the list view, click the link that's between the two arrows. When you want to remove a filter from the page, click the filter icon at the top of the page and click the X beside each filter that you want to clear before clicking Apply. As you can see, there's a lot of functionality built into the Vessels page. If you have any questions or need any help, contact our support team or check out our Help Center. Thanks for watching.